writing equations of lines when given 2 points notes. So before we start, we've got some key information that we need to go over. Reminder, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Our slope formula, that's for finding the slope, so m is or equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Alright, we've got the keywords x-intercept and y-intercept. Remember the x-intercept, think about a coordinate grid. The x-intercept is where a line crosses the x-axis. So right here would be the x-intercept. And the y value is always 0 there. So whatever your x value is, comma 0, because the y value is always 0. Similarly, the y-intercept, which sometimes we refer to as b, is where a line crosses the y-axis. So it's whatever your y value is, and x is 0. So 0, comma, whatever your y value is. Okay, and then a reminder, hoi vux, what those terms mean. Hoi stands for horizontal, so a horizontal line with 0 slope going through the y-axis. So it's in the form of y equals some number. Alright, so for example, y equals 2 might look like this, if that's a positive 2 there. 1, 2. Vux stands for vertical, undefined slope going through the x-axis. It's in the form x equals some number, where the number is whatever it's going through on the x-axis. So if it's x equals -1, it would be a vertical line going through the x-axis at -1. Okay, so just a reminder on those terms. We're going to use those today. So example 1 says, write the equation of the line that goes through the points 4, 6 and 5, 8. Okay, we have two different points. Both are in the form x comma y. So let's differentiate them and say this is the first x value and this is the first y value. Well, this is the second the second x value, and this is the second y value. Okay, this is going to be important in a second when we plug it into this slope formula. Okay, so in order to write the equation of the line, we need the slope and the y-intercept. So we've got 2 points. We can find the slope by using slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. x2 minus x1. So simply what we need to do is plug those values in that we already identified. So the second y minus the first y, 8 minus 6, over the second x value minus the first x value, 5 minus 4. That equals, well, going across the top here, 8 minus 6 is 2. 5 minus 4 is 1. So the slope is 2 over 1, or just 2. Great. Now we need the y-intercept. So this is what we talked about previously. We're going to write slope-intercept form because now we know a point, actually we know 2 points, and we know the slope, but we don't know the y-intercept. So what we're going to do is plug in the values for one of these points. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to choose the point 4, 6. So this will be my x value, this will be my y value. We just found the slope. The slope is 2. So that's the information we need for these three, for x, m, and y, but we don't know b yet. So let's plug that in. Y is 6, m is 2, x is 4, so use parentheses there because you're multiplying. And we don't know b, so we're going to leave it as a variable. Okay, but we're looking to get b all by itself, so let's clean up this portion. 2 times 4 is 8, so we'll have 8 plus b equals 6. I want b by itself, so let's move this 8 over by taking away 8 from both sides. Right, that will cancel this out. 6 minus 8 is -2, So I'll write over here negative 2, that's my 6 minus 8, equals, and then we're left with b. So there's my b value, negative 2. So the equation of this line, if we plug in m and b into slope-intercept form, is y equals 2x minus 2. Okay, so this time, what we needed to do, in order to start, we were given 2 points, and we didn't know either the slope or the y-intercept. So first we had to go find the slope by using slope formula. So this will be a key piece of information. Once we have the slope, we could use the skills we learned last time and plug everything into slope-intercept form just to find the y-intercept. Then once we had both m and b, we can do what we knew how to do from the start, just plug in m and b into slope-intercept form. So that's the way these problems are going to look. Let's look at another example. Here we're given 2 points again. We don't know either the slope or the y-intercept. So we need to start by finding the slope. So we'll plug these values into slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Recall that this just means it's the second y value, or the difference between the second y value and the first y value. So the second y value minus the first y value is 3 minus negative 3. Notice I've got a double negative. That'll be important in a second. Over x2 minus x1. Here's my second x value taken away from my first x value. Negative 2 minus 2. Okay, 3 minus negative 3. Well, a double negative will make this positive. It's really 3 plus 3, which is 6. Negative 2, take away 2 more, so we're going more negative, is negative 4. And if we simplify this, we will have negative 3 over 2. So there's my slope, negative 3 over 2. Now, I can use that information, plug it into slope-intercept form to find b, the y-intercept. Now, I said in example 1 that it doesn't matter which point we use. We could choose either this point or this point. So this time I'll choose the second point just to prove to you it doesn't matter. I could choose either point. So the point I'm going to use is negative 2, 3. And we already know our slope. Our slope is negative 3 over 2. So let's plug that information in. That's my x, that's my y. So y is 3, m is negative 3 over 2, times x, which is negative 2, plus b, and that's the piece we're looking for. So we will leave it as a variable because we're looking for what it is. Let's clean this up. Negative 3 times negative 2, if we multiply across the top, negative 3 times negative 2 will give us positive 6, and it's also being divided by 2. Okay, so bring down your equal sign, bring down the 3, and bring down the plus b. We have 6 over 2, which simplifies to 3. So 3 plus b, and all of this still equals 3. And finally, we can get b by itself by taking away 3 from both sides. Those cancel out. Oh, but 3 take away 3 is actually 0. So b equals 0. And that's okay. That's allowed to happen. It just means that this line is going through the origin. So the middle point, 0. Alright? So the equation of the line, y equals mx plus b, is y equals negative 3 over 2 x. Well, b is 0, so you could write plus 0, but it's also not necessary to say add nothing to what we already have. So it's cleaner just to say y equals negative 3 over 2x and leave it as is. So that is my answer to the equation of this line. So let's go ahead and flip this over. Special equations. So remember, horizontal line, 0 slope, y equals, and vux, vertical line, undefined slope, x equals. So example 3 says, what's the equation of the line that goes through negative 3, 4, and 1, 4? So that we can find by using slope formula. y2 minus y1 is 4 minus 4 over x2 minus x1. So 1 minus negative 3. Well, 4 minus 4 is 0. 1 minus negative 3 is really 1 plus 3, 0 over 4. But if you think about it, if we divide 0 by anything, we're still going to get 0. 0 divided by 4, that is 0. So my slope is 0. My slope is 0, which means we have a horizontal line going through the y-axis. So if we think about it, where is it going through the y-axis? Well, what's the y value of both of these points? 4, isn't it? If we were to plot those points, negative 3, go up 4, 1, go up 4, that would be, if we think about it, and go up 1, 2, 3, 4. If the line is going through negative 3, 4, and the point 1, 4, and we were to connect those, it means that this horizontal line must be going through 4 on the y-axis. So you don't have to draw this sketch out normally. You can just look at what is the y value once you've figured out that that's what you're looking for. But I just drew this so you could visually see what's going on. But that means the equation of this line is y equals 4, because it's a horizontal line with 0 slope going through 4 on the y-axis. Okay. Similarly, in the next example, we'll be looking for a special case. So let's find the slope given those 2 points, 3 minus 4 over 2 minus 2. 2 minus 2. Well, 3 minus 4 is negative 1, but 2 minus 2 is 0. And we can't divide anything by 0. If you try that in your calculator, it's going to tell you error. That's because this line is undefined. So if you have an undefined slope, that means you have a vertical line going through the x-axis. So it will be in the form of x equals something. Well, what you need to do to find that something is just look at the points. What is x? Well, x is 2. X is 2. That's a consistent thing. So the equation is going to be x equals 2. So once you recognize that you're dealing with a special case, either a horizontal line or an undefined line, make sure you've written the equation correctly, either y equals for horizontal lines or x equals for vertical lines. And then just identify what is that value. Well, y keeps going through the value 4. Down here, x keeps going through the value 2. So those are my answers, y equals 4 and x equals 2. And lastly, we have some special coordinates. Example 5 says, what is the equation of the line with an x-intercept of 5 and a y-intercept of 2? X-intercept of 5. If we think about that, well, I've really given you a point there, haven't I? Because an x-intercept is where a line crosses the x-axis. So if an x-intercept of 5 is what we've got, that means the line's going to go through the points 5, comma 0. Because y is always 0 for an x-intercept. So I've indirectly given you the point 5, 0. I've also indirectly given you the point 0, 2 because a y-intercept of 2 means it's going through this point. 0, 2. Okay, 0, 2. By the way, I've also really given you b, haven't I? Because b is the y-intercept. So we know right away b is going to equal 2. But it's important to have both of these points because we also need to go find the slope of this line. So with that aside, we've found b, but let's find the slope of this line by using our slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 2, y1 is 0, so 2 minus 0. 0 minus 5, that's my x's. 2 minus 0 is 2. 0 minus 5 is negative 5. So we have negative 2 over 5. Remember, we always put the negative sign in the numerator when we're talking about slope. Okay, so negative 2 over 5. That means the equation of this line is y equals negative 2 over 5x plus 2. And that is the equation of this line. Okay, if you think you're ready for example 6, definitely pause this video, go ahead and try it, and then come back. So example 6, what is the equation of the line with an x-intercept of 3 and a y-intercept of negative 1? So thinking about that, I've given you the point 3, 0 and the point 0, negative 1. And I've also really given you what b is. B equals negative 1. So let's put that in. And then we will use these points to find the slope. So the slope is y2 minus y1, negative 1 minus 0, over x2 minus x1, 0 minus 3. Negative 1 take away nothing from that is negative 1. 0 take away 3 is negative 3. We have a double negative, so that becomes positive 1/3. And that's my slope. So the equation is y equals 1/3 x minus 1. And that is the equation of this line.